139. You are connected to your switch and wish to remotely administer the Cisco router. Which command would you use? A. Telnet. B. Enable. C. Connect. D. RDP. Answer. A. Telnet. You use the telnet command to remotely connect to another switch or router for remote administration on that device. 140. You are at the global configuration prompt and wish to configure a communication protocol for remote access to the router. What command would you type? A. Line VT04. B. Line SSH0. C. Line Telnet 04. D. Line Telnet 0. Answer. A. Line VT04. In order to configure remote access to the router, you will need to configure the telnet ports on the router. You can navigate to the telnet ports with the line VT0x command, where X is the last telnet port supported by your device. 141. What command would you use to navigate from priv exec mode to user exec mode? A. Disable. B. Shutdown. C. Enable. D. Exit. Answer. A. Disable. The disable command is used to move from priv exec mode to user exec mode. 142. You wish to get help on which parameters exist on the ping command. How would you get a list of parameters? A. Help ping. B. Ping. C. Ping. D. Ping. Answer. B. Ping. You can use the to get help from the Cisco iOS. If you use by itself, you will get a list of available commands, and if you use it after the command, you get a list of parameters. 143. What is the command to move to priv exec mode from user exec? A. Router greater than enable. B. Router hashtag enable. C. Router config hashtag enable. D. Router hashtag disable. Answer. A. Router greater than enable. In order to move to priv exec mode, you use the enable command from user exec mode. 144. Which of the following prompts represents global configuration mode? A. Router hash. B. Router config hash. C. Router greater than. D. Router global hash. Answer. B. Router config hash. Global configuration mode is identified with config hash in the prompt. 145. What is the default router name if a name is not assigned to the router during initial configuration? A. R1. B. Switch. C. Router. D. Default. Answer. C. Router. The default configuration applied to a new router will have the name router if a name has not been configured. 146. What command would you use to navigate to global configuration mode? A. Greater than config terminal. B. Hashtag setup. C. Greater than enable. D. Hashtag config terminal. Answer. D. Hashtag config terminal. Once in priv exec mode, you can type the config terminal command to navigate to global configuration mode. 148. You wish to run the initial configuration dialog. What command would you use? A. Install. B. Dialog. C. Setup. D. Init dialog. Answer. C. Setup. The initial configuration dialog, also known as the setup mode, can be launched at any time by typing the setup command. 149. Under what conditions would the initial configuration dialog appear? A. When there is no running config. B. When there is no startup config. C. When you type init dialog. D. When you type setup. Answer. B. When there is no startup config. D. When you type setup. The initial configuration dialog, also known as the setup mode, Displays when a Cisco device starts up and there is no startup configuration file. The initial configuration dialog also appears when you type the setup command. 150. You have connected a computer to the console port of a brand new router. What will the router display on the screen after it is powered on? A. Router greater than. B. Post errors. C. The option to enter initial configuration. D. Router hash. Answer. C. The option to enter initial configuration. A brand new router does not have a startup configuration, so it will ask you to enter the initial configuration dialog so that you can configure the router. 151. What is the purpose of the post? A. Locate the iOS in flash memory. B. Locate the iOS in ROM. C. Verify that hardware is functioning. D. Apply the startup configuration. Answer. C. Verify that hardware is functioning. The post is the first step performed in the boot process and is responsible for verifying that the hardware is functioning. 162. You wish to disable the fast Ethernet interface on your router. What command would you use? A. Router, config if. #shutdown. B. Router, config if. #disable. C. Router, config. #shutdown interface F0/0. D. Router, config. #disable interface F0/0. Answer. A. Router, config if. #shutdown. In order to disable an interface on a router, you must use the shutdown command at the interface prompt.